That's an ad that tries to get us to buy California raisins. Would you pay for that? If I grew raisins, I wouldn't want to pay for the ad because it promotes my whole industry. My competitors would get to freeload off the money I spent on ads. Yet, as you saw, these ads do exist. We also see them for things like cotton, the fabric of our lives. Those ads happen because government forces all the growers to chip in so there'll be no freeloaders. And that brings us back to the raisin ads.
I wouldn't dream of giving my family anything less. Would you? Hi, honey. What's cooking?
It's hard to believe that sells raisins, but maybe it does. The controversy occurs because to make that happen, farmers and government get together and, as I said, force everyone to chip in. Force, that's what government does. These days, the Raisin Administrative Committee, don't you like these bureaucratic names? The committee also orders raisin farmers to give the government about a third of their crop. This is meant to help the raisin farmers by reducing supply and keeping prices up. Most farmers go along with it, but a few refused. I interviewed one.
They wanted to take my raisins, and I said no. So they couldn't take the raisins. So they said, well, if we can't take the raisins, we're going to give you a fine. And I wasn't the only one. There was 60 of us farmers went together and said no more.
Marvin Horn now owes the government $700,000 in fines, plus 1 million pounds of raisins. He still won't give them the raisins they want, and that's civil disobedience. Horn's taken this all the way to the Supreme Court, which is expected to give its decision next month. Trevor Burrus, a constitutional law specialist at the Cato Institute, has followed this. So this is good civil disobedience.
Absolutely. And it's definitely civil because he went through the court system. He told them, I'm not going to give you my raisins. He told them this 10 years ago. And at one point, they took 47% of his crop and gave him nothing. And he decided to go through the whole
at
process.
First they offered some money, less than the cost of production, but this last time they offered him nothing.
Yeah, they don't have to offer you anything. They have this sort of despotic power. They're a raisin cartel. They're Raisin OPEC. There are 47 of them who sit in an office building in Fresno, California, of which 23 of them are Sun-made representatives, and they decide about the supply of raisins. And the great thing about this case is I love it when government makes fun of itself. I mean, you just say it, and you can't even believe that it exists. And then there's a ton of these that exist for many different products, and so it has its own hilarity built in.
Well, I imagine Marvin Horn was more willing to fight the government on this because his wife is on his side. Here she is explaining why she doesn't want to give up what she grows.
We picked grapes. We did everything. And I just hate to see it just given away. It means a lot to me. Don't mess with what we produce. Don't take a percentage. Let us do what we want with our own crop.
They took raisins for him over the years, and they didn't give him any money. They kind of promised and didn't give him any money at the end of the day. We don't need that. We don't need artificial price subsidization based on New Deal programs, based on economic ideas that are so crazy no one would even promote them now. It's a perfect example that once you get something in place in government, doesn't matter how silly it is, it's never going away, and the people who are in the middle are going to fight to keep it in place. So that's why Marvin Horn is a hero, because that kind of civil disobedience, very rarely do these people stand up and say, no more. I'm not going to go part of the cartel anymore.
This New Deal program to keep the price up, that's just wrong. But if there's going to be advertising, as Sun-made growers says, these people are free riding at the expense of their competitors.
Free riding is cartel speak for freedom. You could actually say, hey guys, want to get together and run some ads.
Do it voluntarily.
Yeah, but the thing about the cartel, right, is OPEC has the Association of Petroleum Exporting Countries, Organization of Petroleum Export Countries. They try to get people to agree to raise the price. And the problem that they always have is they don't have an enforcer because there's no super government over the top of them. The best type of cartel you can get is the one who can come by and get the government to be the one who's the enforcer. Now, in a mob situation, that person comes by with a crowbar and says, hey, you're going to give us your raisins. In a government situation, what would be illegal for anyone else to do, any other business that got together not under this Marketing Order Act, any other business would be put in jail or be fined for colluding for Sherman Antitrust Act monopolization violations. But when you do it at the Raisin Administrative Committee and you got the government being your enforcer, it's all okay.
Government.
Exactly.
Thank you, Trevor. Worth civil disobedience.